Today on vh-1 Behind the Music. Supergroups have long been a staple of rock and roll, but in 1996, producer Peter Douglas formed the first true supergroup. With incredible powers and passion, these heroes banded together to fight infant circumcision, scoring a #1 hit.
So Pete Douglas gives me a call and decides he wants to put something together, something to help out these kids, and I was more than happy to jump on board. That's just the kind of person I am.
Peter and the Green Lantern called. I was down in Borneo.
He wanted me to come and join this band that he was starting up.
The group consists of true superheroes.
So then Peter and I started kicking around some other names. Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Daredevil.
Quite frankly, I knew I was much more talented than any of the people that he had mentioned were going to play. But it was a good cause.
Finally we came up with the Flash. We chose him to be our drummer. He was fast, he was good.
But the Flash had his own demons, and things quickly fell apart.
He was a speed freak.
And he'd constantly miss a beat, run out, run to the bathroom very quickly, run back in between beats.
He couldn't let it go.
Flash was good.
Finally Pete and I sat down and we decided we're going to let him go.
We had to get rid of the Flash because he had problems.
I tried to talk sense into both of them. Focus on your jobs. Let Flash do his job.
With the Flash gone, Green Lantern and Peter Douglas searched and found a session drummer, a kid from Chicago nicknamed Smelly.
He didn't have what you call a everyday front-page newspaper superpower. He just liked to smell things.
We replaced him with a gentleman by the name of Smelly.
I just don't understand that. This whole smelly thing.
He did good work, but it's quite annoying when you're trying to sing and he's smelling your shoulder.
The first thing he did was he smelled my utility belt.
He even tried to smell my power ring, but that's where I drew the line. You just don't smell a guy's power ring.
I mean, I like freaks, but not freaks that smell everything.
Then we started catching him smelling things that he just shouldn't be smelling. Well, we found him in the closet one time with a dead cat, and he wasn't smelling the front end of the cat, if you know what I mean. Pete and I sat down and hashed it out, and we agreed he was too good to let go, so I just had to keep my mouth shut till the project was over.
Although the final lineup was secured, the band still needed a name.
Well, we had a few different names and a few different arguments about all of that.
We decided to call it Superheroes United Against Circumcision. That got trimmed down to SAC.
SAC.
Finally, the stage was set. SAC, or Superheroes Against Circumcision, went into the studio and started creating their legendary sound.
So we needed to discuss the genre and go into that.
I've always been a blues man. I like Muddy Waters and a lot of the older blues musicians like Johnny Lee Hooker.
We decided to go meet in a studio in Toronto, Canada.
Robin comes in and he makes a suggestion. He wants it to be like the Backstreet Boys.
I vetoed that immediately.
I'm 100% behind him. He wants to go for this kind of a Backstreet Boys sound. They're fabulous musicians.
Honestly, after the session, a couple of us got together and just beat the crap out of him.
Everything seemed to be going well, but then personalities and creative differences began to surface.
I felt like it was all working out. And then who does he bring in?
Everyone was upset when I wanted to bring Lois into the group.
I argued that she wasn't even superpowered. She had no connection to superpowers.
When Lois came in and she sang, I frankly thought about somebody throwing silverware into a dryer.
She's not a musician. She has no special powers.
Untalented, unexperienced, and that's when things started to go south.
Her musical abilities were less than talented. She basically sucked.
Catwoman was the one we went with, but Superman wanted Lois.
Seeing as how we're superheroes, I don't think a supervillain should be in the group.
She's misguided, but she is no means any villain.
Finally, the tension between Superman and Batman reached critical mass.
These two jackasses were going to ruin it with their egos. And then Superman, he just walked out.
Which, I mean, to me personally wouldn't have made a difference because I really don't think that he makes any portion of what we do any kind of talent, to say the least.
You remember what Eric Clapton and Tina Turner said? She's tearing us apart. Well, that's the way I felt.
Then, miraculously, on October 15th, 1996, Superman walked into the studio, shook hands with the Batman, and began to sing.
And all of a sudden, Superman comes back in the studio.
I couldn't believe it. The project had gone from the edge of disaster to pure gold in 24 hours.
I was able to come back and were able to complete the album.
We had a #1 hit, and we raised a lot of money for SAC.
Shortly after their hit, the band parted ways.
I really like to quote John Tesh on this and say, I don't know, but I do know. If we could find the right reason, I'd probably get back together again with those guys. Fighting crime's one thing, but making music, that's just great.